Hello everyone, welcome to bitparade.co.uk's look at Contrast. This is the PS4 version, but I believe it's out on the PS3, 360, Xbox One, and I know it's on Steam. I assume it's on other PC stores as well. It's, quickly just to say that, because it's a PS4 game, capturing it a different way than we usually would. It's the same way as we did the Oddworld video, which is to use the share feature to get 15 minutes of gameplay and put it onto Windows, edit it with Movie Maker, do some stuff on Audacity. So I'm talking as we're watching the video back, kind of thing, or as I'm watching the video back. And it means in theory I know what's coming, and I get to highlight certain bits of gameplay that I want to show, which is a nice feature for the share thing. But it also means I have to, if I want a long video, I have to cut stuff together, which means I get to use some wipes. So look out for those. No star wipe though. I could have done, but I didn't. It seemed too obvious. Anyway, the gameplay is essentially the use of light. You can jump into the shadows, so you can see I'm dropping what is a ship's cannon. I'm trying to make a platform so I can get the cannonball across to the glowing cannon on the left hand side. Lots of puzzles like that. It's not all the game is, but we'll get to that later on. You play as basically the imaginary friend of. Oh yeah, there's some glitchiness. We'll get to this. You play as the imaginary friend of a girl called Dee Dee, who has her mum's kicked her dad out, and so she's trying to piece it together, and like what happened. And basically, Dad's been kicked out because he's useless. Like, he's a nice guy seemingly, but owes money all over town, can't be trusted, all that sort of stuff. And he's trying to put on this to win the family back and to make a bit of money. He's trying to put on this fair, this circus. So we're inside the pirate ship ride, and we've already done a couple of bits. And the pirate ride doesn't work, so we need to fix it. There's a huge conversation that goes on after this section where it's Dee Dee just saying, basically, he's probably just done something simple or not done something simple, and basically it lays on that the dad is useless, I guess, but that she loves him. So it's an interesting sort of topic, the whole thing around the game. I'm gonna go quiet actually because you get a bit of a cutscene thing here, and I like the acting. So.
We can get out that way.
So she's going to start saying about her dad in a minute, so I'll probably go quiet again. But yeah, I like the topic. I like that you see a lot of her parents arguing. You kind of see it from her point of view. They don't realise she's watching, but they're silhouettes on a wall. Like literally at one point, they don't realise she's there, and they're blown up huge on this wall. So it makes her feel very small and them feel very big. And they're having this huge argument.
One thing we forgot to do, and that's why the whole ride isn't working.
And yeah, it's like that's one of the things I like about this game, and I like how well done it is. Like I believe the dad is Jensen from Deus Ex, so we'll get a scene with him later on where it doesn't sound anything like him. But I'm sure it's him. So yeah, credit to him if it is, and he's got a bit of range. These things that I'm picking up are luminaries. They're used in machines, but they're really not that important to the gameplay unless you don't have them. I at no point didn't have enough.
I knew it was something.
So this is collectibles, and it's they are what they are. Sometimes they're quite interesting in terms of the backstory, though. So
I think all we need to do is pull these levers at the same time. Are you ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1, go! I think we fixed it! I think we fixed the whole thing!
So this is basically the core concept of the game is that you have to go around and fix your dad's mistakes to help him out, to win him back, or well, not to win him back, but to allow him to win you back, I guess. So that's one of the parts of the circus fixed. We need to go and do another 2 parts now to repair the 2 remaining attractions. And so if that was quite enclosed and lots of small puzzle rooms, this is out in the open world. It does that thing a lot of old PC games did. Like in sort of PS1 era, PS2 era, where everything's a bit big. Like it's because they couldn't get the camera to work in small environments and things like that, and it's got that going on. Like it's not maybe as noticeable here, but this is a very big area to walk around in with like nothing there. Yeah, so I like the. There is problems with the game though. I like I say, as much as I like the story, I like the acting. Like I was told, I think some great ideas, and we'll look at some of them in a minute. But the camera was making me feel a bit ill. Like you just see how it just sort of tipped right above me, and there's a weird sense to the movement as well. I'm sure it's 60 frames a second, but it doesn't feel like there's quite enough animation there, and it sort of feels a bit framey still. But it moves fast. I mean, it moves lightning fast. Also, I think it looks worse here than it does as you're playing it. I think that's the way I've got the video, I think. So this, we'll have a better example of this in a minute, but this is part of something that happens earlier. It's a reference to something that happens earlier. But yeah, it's sort of show, even in the open world areas, there's, I'm trying to get a luminary. So you trigger that, and I can use them as shadows. So anything that's a shadow can be used as a platform. So I'm having a few problems, and that's that's kind of indicative of the platforming. I should have no I'm supposed to get up there, and you'll see I do it, and they straight up, and there's no weight to, I forget her name, but the because I think her mum's called Kat, so I'm not entirely sure what this woman's called. I'm controlling in a minute. She has no weight to her, no sort of inertia. It's not like a Mario or something like that, where you stop suddenly and he feels like you have to get going again, and she just constantly moves. But it also means that the lack of weight doesn't carry her up things. I'll let this play out.
Look, there's the balloon. It got snagged so they can't pull it down, but nobody can get up there to untangle it. I bet somebody didn't pay attention when he was tying it down. A carousel! I think I can turn it on. Do you have any luminaries?
I do have some luminaries. I have 9 of 15.
I think I can turn this on now. I think you're gonna need to get that beacon working.
So, like I was complaining about the platforming, you'll get a very, very good look at that later on. But this isn't the best example of it, but it's one of the problems I have with the puzzles. Some of them get maybe they're not that hard, maybe it's just me being stupid, but you don't get a lot of help with them. So I get that, saying new ability when in Shadow to Dash. Now, if I'd got this right straight away, we'd be done already. But it's if you get something wrong, if you don't solve it immediately, there's nothing kind of going like, hey, what about that thing over there? Have you seen that ledge? Have you tried over there? And there's a particular bit later on where I have to move a box, and I knew I had to move it. I knew, but I didn't realise what was, I knew what was important. I knew I had to use. I don't want to say too much in case I solve it for you, but I knew I had to use a light. But even if the game had just told me that, sort of stressed, like I think that spotlight's important, then I would have gone, right, okay, I clearly need to do that. It's not about placing it, it's about what can I do with it. That's the key thing. Little things like that I think, if you like, a better game would be better at, and I don't mean that too disrespectfully, because I quite like contrast. But yeah, you see, I've been trying this for a while, and I sort of, you know, okay,
Yay!
this is a point where I've solved it. You see how I just stopped there? So I went, oh shit, okay, I think I know how to do this now. Again, the camera sort of gave me a few issues and solved them. That's all it took. I started out at that point, and it shouldn't be that hard. That's my fault, I guess, that one. Um, but yeah, you'll see a little bit of some of my issues with the platforming right now. Also a wipe. You can see a wipe.
Here, jump on
There, I clipped something, and just I didn't have enough weight to carry me over. Right, this bit.
Some bad people, Dee Dee. Maybe you should make good with them first. Right, Johnny?
Maybe I'm no good without my family. Maybe I need my family to make good.
If this is another train wreck, it's not just going to be you and the train this time.
I'm not gonna let it wreck this time. Promise.
So this is again, it's telling something that we've already seen, and there's not too many of these moments. I think there's maybe 3 or 4, where you basically just there's collectibles in the environment and using a memory to climb up.
Maybe I need my family to make good.
But I included this one even though there was the other one, because this shows the problems that I have or had with the platforming, and I clearly get enough height there. My knees are getting onto his head, but it's just not letting me up. And I do end up solving this. We get with okay, I'm in the right bit, and clearly you see I just don't quite trust the jumping. I do end up solving it, but it took me ages. I ended up going off and exploring because I wasn't sure. Like, okay, maybe maybe I'm going at this the wrong side, and there was a luminary up there or something like to the top right.
And rescued Fred.
I'll leave this to play.
Fred didn't feel too good about it. He really loved the princess. Fortunately, the king told him about a giant spider that he could slay in order to win the princess's hand. So Fred marched off to the lair of the giant spider, singing a brave song, a little less loudly than before. After several days had passed, the princess got to wondering what had happened to her future husband. So she went off looking for him again.
So in this bit, it's a theatre or a play, part of the
Fred's
circus.
footprints led her into a dark and creepy cavern, full of strange dripping sounds, kind of like the basement at school. Her footsteps
And they don't have a princess, so I have to play the princess.
Soon she came to a vast pit, filled with vicious, deadly spikes. It was much too big to jump over, but far off, she could hear moaning. She thought it might be Fred. So what do you think she did?
I know.
What?
She used an umbrella.
What?
Like that nanny in that movie.
This is the Middle Ages, honey. Where would she get an umbrella?
I don't know, but that's what she used.
I don't think I have an umbrella.
Well, you better find one, because she used an umbrella.
Where am I supposed to get an umbrella?
So you can see there, that whole section is just taking place on this screen
There we go.
with the spotlight.
So the princess bravely threw herself into the air, slowing her fall using an umbrella. Just like
You
that
see
nanny
a
in
bit
the
of
movie.
glitch in here as well. We'll get to
Floated
one part now, but
down
look
into
how
the cave.
there.
Unfortunately,
I
she
didn't actually
failed
touch
to
that, but it's the same problem with the platform. I think it's maybe the hitbox, and you just have no strength, no weight, and this just looks a bit janky. Like she's fine on the side, but then she's just stiff as you move. It's just she's like a figure rather than a person, and the umbrella's disappeared. So yeah, like just little things like that just feel a bit thingy. But then that's a great touch to the right hand side there. So the plot is that you play the princess, father's trying to marry her off, which they comment on as well. Dee Dee comments on later on.
Finally, she landed softly, right in a spider's web.
So this
Fortunately,
knight
it
comes
was a
along and
very
he's
old web, and she was able to break free. Unfortunately,
she's gonna.
the
I'm
web
just gonna
was
have to
the
talk
only
over
thing
him.
holding up a giant boulder.
He's trying to
The princess
win her.
needed to
Like
find
if
somewhere
he
to hide.
completes these tasks, he gets her hand in marriage. So he's trying to do that. But he's rubbish. Basically, she's better at being a knight than he is. He keeps getting captured and stuff. So, but yeah, I just liked it as a little, bit of a moment between father and daughter. It changes the gameplay up a bit. So you're not just doing the same stuff. No, I guess you kind of are, but it's a
Suddenly,
sort of
a giant
side-scrolling
spider
platformer.
jumped out of the shadows and attacked her. She ran and climbed and jumped and climbed, but the giant spider was very good at climbing too. It had 8 legs, and the princess only had 2.
So you get to see me just get stuck on a on a sort of a jump here. Not too bad, but there's it just the momentum's strange to it.
Fortunately, the princess remembered how the webs were holding up boulders.
So yeah, as I dodged some boulders falling, I really I actually quite liked contrast, and it's I don't know. It's important to remember that it was free on PlayStation Plus, and I got my PS4 the other week, and
Finally,
it was free from there.
He was
So,
all wrapped up like a present.
I already had it free on my account, and that I think is important to remember because I don't know if it's worth the money necessarily. Anyway, I'll let this bit play out.
The princess decided he was cute. Fortunately, the king told him about a dragon that he could slay in order to win the princess's hand and stop being so embarrassed. So Fred marched off to the mountaintop of the dragon, singing a brave song very quietly. After a few days, the princess got to wondering
Why her dad kept trying to give her away?
that too. But she was worried about Fred, so she went off to find him.
So because it was free, it's maybe hard to judge it. And I know that's always a problem because we do get sent games to review.
The dragon's mountain was cold, and the wind
But-
howled at her to turn back. There were rock slides and fire.
With something like Contrast, where it's a buggy game, but it's a really good idea. It's got lots of good ideas. I mean, it's so buggy at points, and so like the movement of it and the camera, the way it spins around, it made me feel ill. And like if you're feeling genuinely ill, a bit of motion sickness playing a game, it's maybe hard to recommend it. But I liked it. I had fun playing it. I thought it was interesting. I like the tone of it. I like the sort of realistic family life thing that it deals with, realistic to a point. But then bits like that, the platforming, where I just got fired off that water sprout, are things that will stop you from being able to recommend us. Like I could see someone hating it, and it's a shame because, like I say, I think there's good ideas. As the same developers a few more years down the line would probably do a much better job of this. But anyway, we're coming to the end of the video, so if you want to visit us on bitparade.co.uk, feel free. If you like the video, please give it a thumb up. If you don't, just don't do anything, it's fine.
Hanging from the roof of the dragon's cave.